Hi, this is Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting.
When I was married, I didn't particularly enjoy my sex life with my husband. And that is something I have done some writing about online. When the affair came along, it yielded the final blow. And it's like my body almost closed to him. My legs closed, my body closed. And I swore that I was just never going to enjoy sex again. And that sex was overrated. And that there were more important things in life, like keeping my family together. But then I found myself in that 1-year position wondering, really, is this life what I really want? And lo and behold, I ended up meeting someone else. And it was someone who is the exact opposite of my husband. And it happened through a friendship. And And so it was like I needed to manifest a living, breathing human into my life to realize that things were so wrong in my marriage and that there was a reason why my body had closed to him all this time. That makes sense?
It's very well put, and I know it's not easy to talk about, particularly because some of the judgment that you may feel from the outside. However, it is interesting that you had closed down a side of you to be able to survive within a relationship that was not as close physically. So it looks like when you kind of realized that there was a whole you that was not being manifested in that part, and that you found someone with whom you did feel some of that attraction, it looks like that was able to come to life in a way.
Right. And I mean, and the physical component of this next relationship was definitely part of it. I mean, the sexual reawakening was fantastic. It was like my life just danced in color again. It was like, ooh, there's a skip in my step, and, just feeling it so alive and vital. But it was so much more than that. I mean, this was someone that I genuinely fell in love with as well. If the emotional component hadn't been there, then the sexual component wouldn't have followed.
That seemed to be a relationship that seemed to be more like aligned and whole in a way.
I knew that he was exposing me to other layers of myself that I had felt were totally cut off in my marriage for years, if not my entire life. And what do you do with that information? I mean, I had to make choices. I mean, I started to change. I started to awaken. And I mean, I know those are really broad terms to use, but there was a shift that occurred as a result of this other relationship where I couldn't go back into my relationship with my husband and just go back to that sort of self-effacing wife, let me just lie back and spread my legs. It just, something had shifted.
Delaine, prior to getting married, what was your sexual interest or your relationship like, even before getting married or before meeting your husband? Would you say that your sex life now is similar to the way it was before getting married, or is this a completely different phase in your life?
Oh, I think it's a completely different phase. Absolutely. Because when I was younger, I mean, yeah, I dated and I had a few serious boyfriends. And yeah, I mean, I had a few different partners, obviously, that I had sex with. But there's a big difference. I remember there was times when I had sex when I was younger, there was always somewhat of an agenda. And it was to make him love me, make him want me, make him think that I'm beautiful, what have you. So it was driven by a sense of insecurity. And what I found when I became single again at 37 was that it was driven by different factors. I mean, I'm a fully grown woman. I don't need to have children anymore. That's done. I went into exploration mode. Now, that being said, there was an evolution that transpired throughout that year after my divorce. At first, it was like, oh my gosh, you need to seek and replace as soon as possible. Alert, alert, you're single, like panic. But no, so that changed over time though, and I gave myself permission to explore. It's like, okay, you know what, maybe you can hold back a little bit at your heart, maybe you can filter things through your brain. And so I came to dating with, it was an evolving wisdom, I guess, about who has ownership over my body. And also coming into question was, what are the rules here? What are my rules around sex and dating? And where are these voices coming from? Like, are these the voices of society? I mean, in the end, I mean, I'm a 37-year-old woman. I'm relatively confident. I contribute to society. I'm a good, caring person. And so whose rules do I really have to abide by? And it's not that I wanted to bed hop incessantly. That's not the point. I didn't want to have sex with anybody. Of course not. There had to be a connection. But it was about in giving myself permission to explore that. Also look a little bit at power. Look at the different kinds of connections that happen with people. Because, you know, when it comes to sex, on the one side, we've got, you know, one-night stands. And then we've got, on the other side, true love. But what people don't realize is that there's a full spectrum of experiences that can happen in the middle. And these are experiences that can be meaningful and beautiful and respectful, but they may not be true love. And our society has it set up so it's got to be one, true love, or one-night stand. And so this is a commentary on you, especially if you're a woman, because your chastity, this is what shows what your ultimate value is as a woman. And I just thought, you know what, that's baloney.